Good morning. It's another week. It's Friday. Welcome to Midnight's Edge in the morning. Andre is still AWOL. We haven't located him. No, I'm just kidding. He's off dealing with whatever it is again. And we are back live in the morning. We got Culture Casino with us this morning. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. It's going to be a lovely morning. It's a lovely Friday. We are at the last day of the week prior to the weekend. So we always start off well when we start here. So I'm glad to be here today.
Sometimes that's the case. Also joining us this morning, he joined us for the first time last night on Meet, and now he's here this morning with us again. Jonas J. Campbell of That Park Place. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Even happier to be here today in the daylight.
Right. Well, we don't have very long with you, so we're not going to waste too much time with you. Just want to say hi quick to everybody in the chat. But tell us a little bit about yourself real quick, Jonas, for those who may not know who you.
I guess I'm a YouTuber now. I'm a writer for That Park Place. I call myself an investigative journalist, but basically what that means is when one of these big media companies says something, I try my best to verify if it's true or if they have the motivation to lie. It's pretty obvious they lie a lot. So today I think I'm here to investigate and talk about some of this Disney stuff.
Yeah, we're going to kind of try and do a truncated version of some of what we talked about last night. I don't know if you've had any new revelations since then, but let's not waste too much time here. The reason we brought you here this morning mainly is this Nelson Peltz stuff going on.
Yeah.
He was, as we pointed out last night, he started out as a bit of a mosquito or a flea in the ointment of Disney, and now all of a sudden it's become a bit more of an annoyance. You wrote this wonderful article yesterday, which we discussed, but we juxtaposed that with this Variety article with the headlines: Disney board urges shareholders to ignore activist investor Nelson Peltz's proposals. And this is just one of many articles that have dropped over the last couple days. And we speculated last night a bit on why that could be. So tell us basically the outline of what's in your wonderful article here, and basically what you think is going down, kind of basically all the stuff we kind of went over last night as best you can.
Yep.
From your perspective.
I got to watch last night. I didn't realize that I was pretty much the first thing to happen in the stream last night, so I missed a little bit of background there. But for those of you who are not aware, there is a proxy fight going on at the Walt Disney Company. That means that the shareholders of the company, there are different factions of shareholders, and this one, led by Nelson Peltz, they're asking for other shareholders to proxy, which means to give the right to their shareholder vote to a particular side. In this case, Peltz is from Trian Fund Management. I say from, he basically is Trian Fund Management. He has a long history of winning proxy fights, and he has a long history of making substantial improvements at the companies that he wins these proxy fights for. He is involved in a lot of big names, especially since it's around lunchtime. I will mention that he is in charge of Wendy's, and there's some question about whether or not he's going to also take over Wendy's entirely, even though he basically runs the place, whether or not he's going to purchase it outright. So with Peltz in this particular story, he is naming one specific board seat that he's going after, and there's significance to it. It's the board seat of Michael Froman, who is among other things associated with MasterCard and Citigroup, and has a lot of financial background, but not a lot of entertainment background. Disney had originally said Peltz does not belong in this space because he has no entertainment background. That accusation seems to have disappeared from filings, the most recent filings. There's been another one from the Disney company since this article came out. There's another part of the article that talks about the proposals that Peltz is putting forward, which are not getting a lot of press coverage from the mainstream outlets, but, to each its own. I would say also the new developments here is the Disney letter in response, of course, is saying that Peltz is, I guess they're trying to accuse him of being incompetent, which is just patently ridiculous. He knows what he's doing. Maybe he could come into Disney, which is a unique company, and need to get his footing a little bit. But there's a lot of board members that, let's say, they're rookies to Disney. A lot of his accusations seem to be around exposing Disney's relationship with China, and they specifically named the Chinese Communist Party in several of their proposals. He's not fighting them on executive compensation, at least for this part of the proxy fight. I'm trying to think what else. In the new filing, we can get into that a little bit later, but there's an interesting note in the newer filing we talk about later. Please, someone else talk.
No. We're just trying to soak it all up because this is some very interesting background that a lot of people are, I'm sure, in our chats are not aware of. And again, like I said, we really did a deep dive on it last night. I don't think we'll be able to do as deep of a dive here today. So let's get to that new stuff that you're talking about, aside from the fact that I love the campaign slogan, or whatever you want to call it, that he's trying to gain support with, and that is bring the magic back to Disney, basically.
Yeah.
And I think it's ingenious.
Yeah,
absolutely. Restore the magic, which also brings to mind Roy Disney's campaign to get Eisner fired. What was that one called? It might have been Save Disney. But there is no Disney name attached to Peltz other than the fact that he owns shares in this case. And Roy got a lot of favor on that name when, again, going back to Iger's book, Iger's the only person I've ever seen who has spoken negatively and publicly about a Disney member of the family. So the new stuff is the filing from Disney. Every time that they release anything that could be construed as trying to sway the proxy fight, they have to file it with the SEC. I don't know the name of the actual act, but it comes in as a Schedule 14A. And the interesting thing is they defend Froman for a second, but when they start talking about Mark Parker, let me see if I can find the actual text here. I'll just pull up the That Park Place chat where I stuck it earlier. This past year has been a dynamic period for Disney. We recently announced that Mark Parker will become chairman of the board following our 2023 annual meeting of shareholders. Mark's 4 decades of experience at Nike, including his service as chief executive officer, his deep understanding of creatively driven consumer-facing businesses with world-class brands, and his experience. It goes on like that for some time. This is my observation. I haven't had anybody back me up on it yet, but I would say that that's the kind of language that they generally associate in their filings with how they talk about Bob Iger. So I would definitely put Mark Parker in the ring on that succession plan. He's
also a terrible human being. His time at Nike, he was more than willing to exploit forced labor practices in a foreign country that.
They've been doing that forever, but
but
the difference is Nike ain't been worth a shit for how long?
Well, but it's, again, I mean, you were that's further ingratiating yourself, if not completely becoming beholden to a foreign entity.
Well, wait, that fits right in over at Disney. So,
all right.
I'm sorry, Culture. I'm just being facetious. Go ahead.
I know. I was trying to add perspective to what Jonas is saying. He's 100% right. This is why I love this very well-researched and structured article that Jonas put together over on That Park Place. And if you guys haven't checked out that website, you should. This is a great group of humans writing wonderfully well about, well, not just Disney, but some other things that are related to it. And it is genius. So do check that out.
Well, thank you very much. Parker, also a few years back, this is what's always fascinating when you have these people that are playing well with China, but we associate that with the left. But also Mark Parker had a boys club accusation back at Nike a few years back. So I wouldn't say he's morally upright only just for the exception of China.
That is. I really don't.
Do you want me to explain, or you just being
honestly, it's probably something we can't talk about on YouTube, I bet.
Well, I'll say it's pretty soft. Generally speaking, probably not the
Okay.
most welcoming environment to femininity, and it's a
Oh,
sports
okay. Gotcha.
related
That
company.
kind of a boys
That
club.
kind of, not a gentleman's club, but a boys club.
No, I was thinking like a young boys club.
Oh,
No.
no.
Well,
No.
you know, with these people working at Disney, you got, you know,
Yeah.
Another ABC person recently
Yes.
made the news for that. You can go look, I believe.
Former-
on
oh,
the
not
former
even
news-
surprised.
Former news anchor at ABC, correct? I think.
Shoot.
Was he a weatherman like Bob?
No.
Oh,
A
okay.
regular reader and correspondent.
Well, and Jonas, I hate doing this, throwing stuff at you like it's, like you're the ball throwing thing at the fair or whatever.
Go for
I
it.
don't even know how to fucking say it right now. But like I said, I brought this up here too. Now, I think this is important. We touched on this last night. The fact that the trades are now getting involved with this, because like I said before, there was one of those things where the trades were ignoring him and everybody else was ignoring him. You guys were the first place where I started hearing it from, like you, Valiant, WW Pro, so on and so forth. That's the first place I started really hearing this name pop up. Culture as well, obviously. But now the major trades are starting to say these things. That signals to me that he's starting to get some support.
Yes.
And they're
Well,
afraid of it.
either that or well, yes, it does signal that they're getting support. It probably also signals that the trades are against it.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's obvious. I mean, we know that. Like, they don't want anything that has anything to do with actual progress.
I mean, he bought $500 million in shares after a board meeting, which the complaint up to that point was, well, you don't have shares. And he had apparently indicated, if you follow the SEC filings, Disney has admitted that Peltz said, I will buy shares if it makes everyone feel better about me being on the board. Because one of the complaints is the board members do not have a significant amount of shares, and so their financial interest is not tied up in the company in the same way. Actually, can I respond to that right there? With the rogue attraction, they are calling
Absolutely.
him an activist. The term activist investor is not the same as an activist in the traditional sense of the
Right.
word. An activist investor is an investor with an agenda,
Right.
and not agenda in the capital A with a trademark symbol on it that we think about it, or the narrative or anything like that. An activist investor has a specific purpose that he would like to see in the company, like an activist investor, Dan Loeb, that came in because he wanted to spin off ESPN.
Yeah.
Also worth noting that Dan Loeb managed to get his own seat on the board in the middle, not for him personally, but for one of his people at his fund.
Yeah.
Came in the middle of this. He made his case. They gave him a seat.
Yep.
And they have an agreement that his candidates will remain on these proxy statements for some period of time until the agreement runs out. So it's not like there's no room to wiggle on this board.
No, there is. I mean, you've got Loeb, you've got can you imagine Thiel? I think I mentioned this last night, but you can imagine Thiel walking in on this going, you know what? Disney should return to its, moral high ground. Can I read a statement? This is fun. So you mentioned the Save Disney campaign that was started by Roy, right? Roy E. Disney.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that? So that was back in 2004. And Roy actually addressed the stockholders meeting directly. And if you'll permit me, I can read the entire statement. It's not very long. It's 4 paragraphs. So bear with me a moment. So
go for it.
He said specifically, and I quote him, these are all his words. The Walt Disney Company is more than just a business. It's an authentic American icon, which is to say that over the years, it's come to stand for something real and meaningful and worthwhile to millions of people of all ages and backgrounds around the world. To speak as Walt once put it, not to children, but to the child in each of us. We do this through great storytelling, by giving our guests a few hours in another world where their cares can momentarily be put aside, by creating memories that will remain with them forever. This is the core of what we've come to call Disney, and to my mind, our single biggest need is to get back to that core. In my view, the essence of who we are lies in the business of film, especially animation, and the stories, characters, music, and humor that well-made films generate. This is the engine that drives the train. and everything that we do as a company basically flows from it. My dad was once quoted as saying, "It's easy to make decisions once you know what your values are." Unfortunately, our corporate values have been compromised in recent years. In large part, this is the result of a cynical management's belief that in the absence of ideas, the road to success is to cut back on everyone and everything that once made you successful. That you really don't need to give your guests value for money. That creativity and originality are luxuries you can no longer afford. That art and artists are commodities to be bought and sold like any other office supply. To me, the wrong-headedness of these beliefs is self-evident. I don't care what current management may tell you. The plain fact is that you can't fool all the people all the time. Nor can you succeed in our business by trying to get by on the cheap. Consumers know when they are getting value for their money, and they know when you're trying to sell them secondhand goods. So, what kind of change do we need to make? It's really quite simple. We need to install a management team, one that understands and believes in the enormously valuable legacy that's been entrusted to us. Speaking as someone with the last name of Disney, it is my firm belief that we are not a commodity. As long as we continue to believe in the power of creative ideas, then our best years still lie ahead.
Amen. Just to
Go ahead, please.
Just to add context to what was going on at the time, this was the era of straight-to-video sequels to Disney classics, the alienation of Pixar. Bob Iger talks about it as well, about going to China parks and realizing that all of the characters that people were excited about were Pixar characters, and none of them were things that people that Disney had made within the last 10 years. It was a bad situation. Not to go too deep into Disney War, but it is a fascinating era at Disney.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, and that's actually kind of what we're doing today, Jonas, is we're diving pretty deeply into it. And what's interesting is how what Nelson Peltz is saying now, and in the context of your article and everything else that's being done here, how much that seems to mirror exactly some of the things that were happening within the company going all the way back into the early 2000s. So it's quite fascinating to me.
Yeah. We got over 1,100 of you watching. Please hit that like button if you haven't already, and share the link out. WDW Pro is listening in. I sent him the link, but he wasn't able to make it this morning. He says, big news this week for Disney. Huge Star Wars info soon. Quite the tease, Pro. Quite the tease. You are such a tease, my friend. We got some questions here from the chat about this whole situation. Do you mind? You got a few minutes to hang out so we can try and answer those with you here, Jonas?
Sure, I'll do my best.
All right, let's see what we got here. Now, of course, these are going to be out of order, guys, but we're going to try and grab the ones that specifically I think Jonas can help us with. Tipping Barn says, what would the benefit of Peltz getting on the board? Wouldn't every other board member snub him or refuse him to work with him? Well, that's a good question, Tipping Barn.
It went silent there. Sorry, it went silent on
Go ahead.
end.
Oh, yeah. No, the question is, what would the benefit of Peltz being on the board be? Wouldn't every other board member snub him or refuse to work with him? Well, doesn't he have to get them on his side to get this position anyway, Jonas? Or what's the situation?
Yes, he would. And I will say I don't want to talk about every single member of this board, but some of them are rather green and green in the young or non-veteran sense, and might be weak-willed. So there might be a chance that they could be swayed in that direction. Also, it ends this idea of unanimity on the board. Also, Peltz is not just some guy there to say, hey, you did this wrong. He was very close to getting an observership, which you should hear the statements that they made after the fact about, no, absolutely, we're not going to give him an observership. And by the way, the person who used those words is no longer with the company for some reason. it's at least the
Interesting.
first step forward, and I doubt that is the only thing that happens. They can still change board seats mid-year. They can. I don't know all of Disney's corporate bylaws, but he has influence and he has votes, so he can probably do a lot more if he has that show of support enough to go against the company, against the board.
Yeah. Bamagrad says, "Hail to all." I think he means referring to the battle for the seat at Disney board. How much change or shift in priorities and direction can just rogue board members cause?
This man is a public relations nightmare if you cross him.
That's a good question. And this is why I brought up the other article from Variety. Is clearly they're, they're getting scared of him. He's gaining some influence. He has to be, otherwise they wouldn't be putting stuff like this out for other members to see and scare them into, not listening to this guy.
He's he's got him in the chokehold, and the train is coming down the tracks, and he's Agent Smith there and saying his presence on the board, Mr. Anderson, is an inevitability. I do think it's going to happen eventually. I don't think he's going to go away if he doesn't get his board seat in March.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's in, and again, I mean, I know you pointed this out in the article, but I mean, he's the reason Susan Arnold was even where she was, in the company and with the company in the position that she was.
And yeah, Bamagrad, I mean, I think the proof is in the pudding in the fact that we have this article here for Variety and, the write-up from Jonas that, one rogue member can cause some issues. And then we have ActionCom who says, do you think Peltz has his ducks lined up, or is his fight he started, or is this a fight he started and hopes he wins? These types of fights, I hate these green ones, sorry. It's not you guys, it's they on my screen, they get all fun.
These types don't fight unless they have a plan.
Yeah, there's like white lines around the word.
Yeah, don't worry about it, dude. I can read them. It's fine.
So does he have his ducks lined up, do you think, Jonas?
Well, we'll look at the accusations. First of all, he got rid of the complaint that he had no shares by buying $800 million worth of shares. And now that's probably worth more than $1 billion.
Oh, it is.
The complaint that he didn't have a plan and didn't present a plan. He presented a plan, and they made it very clear that they did not listen. He has the Restore the Magic campaign up for everyone to read. There have not been great responses to it, and it hasn't been getting the coverage that it deserves. And if you are a person that mistrusts the media, not covering it means they don't have something good to respond to. And also the accusation that he has no entertainment experience and therefore is not qualified. I think he's coming up with quick defenses for everything that they are throwing against him. Right now, their best defense is raising the stock price and trying to wait him out. There are other issues, and I'm not meaning to just constantly plug that Park Place, but we're covering DeSantis has got a meeting the exact same day earlier in the morning as the Disney shareholders meeting. He's calling his special session to talk about Reedy Creek.
I was going to say, let's touch on that for just a moment if you got the time, because that's one of the big linchpins of this whole thing, right? Like they're still facing losing their biggest tax breaks and incentives for being in the state of Florida, right?
Well, let's see. I don't think they're going to lose tax breaks with Reedy Creek, but it does create a situation in which Reedy Creek held a whole bunch of debt that Disney was going to have the citizens of Reedy Creek, the 12 trailers in a circle. You can see them on Google Earth.
Okay, so this refers to that part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and these are all people that worked for Disney for a long time, and who knows how long they're there, and they all get together, and there's a rubber stamp meeting.
This is why the media was running with the whole like, if the Republicans do this, then that means the citizens are going to have to pay for this huge bill.
And I have to give the credit to WDW Pro and Valiant Renegade, and specifically the legal mindset.
Yes,
he is
Andrew, yeah,
an expert like you. I mean, if I could have picked a person to comment on this situation, he specifically works on special districts for theme parks in the state of Florida. There is no way that debt can be transferred to anyone else.
Nope.
And also, DeSantis, despite the fact that that is definitely true, DeSantis has made it clear that his team that he's putting in place is going to make sure that it doesn't go to anyone else. That debt is not going to be transferred to anyone else other than Disney or the
Right.
citizens of Reedy Creek. Now, DeSantis knows that that can't happen anyways. He is a lawyer, right? But he's putting that in the legislation. One more additional item about DeSantis's special team that he's going to put in charge of Reedy Creek. He gets to pick who is in charge of Reedy Creek now on the Florida side. The last time he did this, very recently, he put a board in charge of New Florida College. I forget the name of the
with Chris
institution.
Rufo.
Chris Rufo. And
Yeah.
if you guys don't know who Chris Rufo is, Culture, why don't you tell everyone who Chris Rufo is?
Chris Rufo is the guy that blew the lid off of all of the CRT stuff that just has been invading everywhere, infesting everywhere, and he even put in the exposure of the Reimagine Tomorrow.
I was just gonna say, was he behind the reimagining?
He exposed that he is a unique kind of journalist and warrior out there. I don't even know what to call him, Jonas. I can't even imagine.
Go
ahead.
He calls himself a journalist.
Yeah.
And you know, I'll say he's an activist journalist, but he's exposed things that normal journalists are not going after.
Investigating. And again, he's the one that dropped the Reimagine Tomorrow, all the CRT that was behind it, the background behind CRT. He's the one that's been, kind of spearheading all of these conversations when it comes to the identitarian things that have been again permeating our culture and society, and what their origins are, et cetera, et cetera. He did a remarkable job, and he's never let up on Disney. So DeSantis obviously considers him an ally. So it's very fascinating.
Well, and if we're curious as to where, I'm sure the elephant in the room is this, guys. One of the big reasons why they're resistant to this guy is they're painting him as a conservative. Notice the activist term in that other headline, right? He's close with Ike Perlmutter, who in turn is also supposedly close with Trump. So this is another reason why they're resisting this guy, not to go down a political road. But I mean, Jonas, do you think there's something to that, obviously, or is that just smoke and mirrors?
It is complicated, and Peltz has hosted Trump fundraisers for the super rich at his house, which included Ike Perlmutter. And Perlmutter has been active in this campaign, even though I think Perlmutter has a legacy title that pretty much means nothing at Marvel right now, because Feige is in charge of all entertainment at Marvel. It makes me wonder what this guy who took Marvel from the Toy Biz company to the company that it is now. They've got him twiddling his thumbs. Of course, he's got time to call all these board members. There is in the background, whether or not it's a political aspect, it speaks to the underlying philosophy in the opposition here. I don't want to turn your channel into a political channel, but there are two ideologies here that are at war with each other. And the force has not been in balance for some time at Disney.
Well, and we discussed it, and again, not to get too political, but it sadly is part of the game. And at this point, what you have is one political side who is fighting for basically the soul of Disney and what it could be as at least what it used to be as a family company, or at least what it used to stand for, regardless of the fact that it was about making money at the end of the day. And you have the other side who is about activism and all this other bullshit at the expense of, so you would think this would be a no-brainer, but I think I could see where you're coming from, where if you have a bunch of young people on the board who probably swing a certain way politically, that's going to be a problem. And this just all stems back to what we've been talking about for years about this. Basically, we've been calling it a Cold War, a Civil War, what have you, in the heart of Disney. Whether it's affecting Star Wars or something else, it's been there for a while, but it's really, really heating up now. But we got a couple more super chats here before we lose you that I want to get your comment on here. Captain sends in 5 and says, is Iger the guy or the last guy? I forgot the lore.
He's the once and future king. Yeah.
Same as the next. Stay Fluff says, I own stock. I'd vote for Peltz. If he put up a public fight to keep Splash Mountain at Disney, it's too late for WDW. Give customers what they want. I mean, I don't know how, this is one small battle on the battlefield of a huge war. I mean, I see where you're coming from, Stay Fluff, but I mean, is that something that's way beyond and past his control at this point? Do you think there was something that
are you asking me? If Pro were here, I would defer to him. There was a rumor that they were just going to shut down Splash Mountain quietly one day at Disneyland if they haven't done it already, because they saw the chaos of the last day of Splash Mountain at Walt Disney World. I think that's a black eye for them, whether or not they want to admit it. They're hoping it's a non-story that goes away. I, if anybody is interested in this subject, there's a great interview with Valerie Stewart, the daughter of Nick Stewart, who was the voice of Brer Bear in Song of the South. Just take the time. It's an hour and 20 minutes. It's a perspective that you're not going to find another perspective like that, because frankly, all the people involved with it will be passing away eventually. Really great, moving video.
Right.
And that's over on Valiant Renegades channel.
Oh, that one I think is on WDW Pros.
Yeah, I think that's what. And he also has the interviews and all that stuff. Like, yeah, I think it's over on Pro's channel.
All right.
But
sorry.
Yeah, nice plug. Okay. Nice plug for Pro there. But do check out that Park Place, of course. Yeah. And I think that's pretty much. I think that's all the ones that we can really grab that are specifically the for you, or at least things that you can comment on. But Jonas, it sounded like Culture had something to ask you there real quick. Go ahead.
Oh no, I know Jonas needs to go. So
I was just gonna say, yeah, I was gonna let him go here. So Jonas, real quick, go ahead and tell everybody about that Park Place or anything else you want to plug on your way out the door. You got a YouTube channel now, I'm sure.
Well,
the mods are grabbing that for you.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate very much being invited to join this prestigious channel here. So that Park Place is all the news that should be fun. Specifically lately, we've been covering the Disney board situation as closely as possible. And also, if this is World War II, the Egyptian, the African campaign over here of the internals of Lucasfilm, there is a big video that's going to drop on WDW Pro's channel coming soon. It sounds like that's a go. There was some question about whether or not that was going to be revealed. Valiant Renegade is going to be covering, there's a lot to cover on the Sunday show, 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and then the earnings call on Wednesday. There is so much going on. We're all just kind of drinking from the fire hose while holding on for our dear lives. It's chaos.
I hear you. And this is going to be fun to watch with popcorn. I can't wait to hear the more ins and outs as we move along here in the next year or so. Can't wait to have you and Pro and stuff here in the future to talk more about this, Jonas. So hopefully we'll see you again real soon. Take care of yourself, and do check out that Park Place and Jonas's channel on YouTube.
Thank you so much, Culture. Thank you so much, Tom. See you around. Bye.
Take care of yourself. All right. We'll see if anybody else pops in here. But in the meantime, let's take a look at some Super Chats, Culture. What do you say?
Sounds good. This is from Callum Lyle for an Australian $5. It says, Fred takes the mask off. All of you say together, Mindy Kaling, Jankies. She's the race-changing shower peeper. Dragged away, she yells. Oh, all right.
Yeah. And you know what?
Would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
Meddling, keep going.
Meddling, straight book reading, educated right-winger kids.
Yes, Mindy Kaling is one of the villains from the old cartoons, indeed. Thank you for the 2 Super Chats, my friend.
Yes, very much. Thank you very much. Then Callum sends in another one, says the Rainbow people are coming for your kids. Star Wars will have a drag show for Celebration. Yeah, I heard about this crap. I don't know all the specifics, but I guess they're a group that signed up for one of the panels at the Celebration this year. And correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they have some deal last year, Culture, where they had some like either trans person or drag
they've been doing
doing some game show thing or whatever?
Yeah, they've been doing some questionable things, at Star Wars Celebration for a few, last few years that on the years they've been able to meet. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. And I think 6 actually clarifies and is accurate.
She could actually hop in here. She's feeling up to it
she
because
wanted to. Yeah.
I could ask her a little bit about this whole thing going on at Wookiepedia.
Oh.
Hello,
Yeah,
6.
Wikipedia, fuck 'em.
Yeah.
The thing about the drag show panel or the drag panel, the Star Wars conventions, they allow space for fans to have panels. I think some of the YouTubers in our sphere have had panels there where they set aside a convention room and they just allow them to host a panel. And I'm not sure if they allow people to live stream from them, but I understand that Star Wars is allowing this to happen, but it's not like it's a main part of the convention where they would have, like Dave Filoni would host a panel on the Clone Wars or something like that.
I can still see the concerns, but I see where you're coming from.
Oh, I definitely do. They're still allowing it, but I just wanted to clarify that it's fan run.
No, thank you. And actually, if you want to hang around,
sure,
I'll ask you about some of that Wookiepedia stuff when we get through some of these super chats here. HyperGuyver2 says, regarding the Star Wars Celebration drag panel, while your ire is aimed at Lucasfilm, you should direct it at the promoter of the event, Reed Pop. And I think that's kind of what you're saying is more about the it's not them putting it on so much as it's a fan event thing, right?
Yeah, and Reed Pop, they do the heavy lifting of the. It's not Star Wars or Lucasfilm employees running the convention. They have hired or contracted with Reed Pop to run the thing. It's nothing would happen at that convention without Lucasfilm's approval, though.
Yeah, that's the other.
But I understand what you're saying.
Yep. And Dr. Long Dongler sends in a thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't done it already. We appreciate that here. We got Psychotic who says, hell all. Thank you for the recent short videos. Well, thank you for watching, Psychotic. We appreciate it. We have a new member in Kathleen Morrison. Thank you so very much, Kathleen. We appreciate that. Then we've got Stian Monstad who sends in a super sticker. It is a
thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Thank you so much, Stian. And then we've got a member chat from Eclipse Warlord here who says, oh, look, a late start for shame, Skeletor. Well, thank you so much, Eclipse Warlord. Then we've got Mecha J who says Disney War, Battle of the Investors. Yes, very, very much so. And Tennille sends me in a yellow one. Well, thank you so very much. Here, Tom, this one is yellow, not green. Final re-manifesting at even the highest levels of corporate governance. Come what may, it's still satisfying to see them panic. They've earned it. Yeah, I hope this is a changing of the tide. I don't want to get too excited, though. Right, because I think this guy's kind of fighting an uphill battle. But what do you think, Culture?
Well, no, just to add to that, I think Tennille's right. I mean, look, if you're going after the heart of culture in the United States of America, if you're going after Americana, that essentially was Disney. I mean, you heard the 4-paragraph statement I read from Roy's son, Roy. Complicated family, but you heard that, and in his attempt to save Disney for the second time in 20 years, and he kind of outlined it that Disney is the center of America. It represents a lot of things culturally for not just our country but around the world. It is Americana, and therefore, if you can reclaim the heart, the center, if you can reclaim Disney, and change that's a considerable portion of culture in this country. If you think about it, I mean, they're one of the 4 mega studios now. I mean, I know there's 5.
Well, and they used to really express basic American Midwest values, basically, right? Like, and I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, it's not like they were pushing a religious agenda. They never exactly ever pushed a political agenda before that. They were just more or less neutral. And as we've pointed out before, Disney used to be a brand that you could just, trust that it would be something that would entertain the family without having to worry about certain cuss words or sexual situations or drug use or violence getting in the way. And now the sexual situation part is being, I don't know what you for better lack of better words, molested, I guess. And at that point, that's the worst of the bunch, I think, to most parents. It's the hardest to deal with and explain. Waltman says BuzzFeed have AI writing their articles now. I'm not surprised.
Okay. I want to say, Waltman, you're in the right vein there. Right now, they're using AI, and again, I've done 2 videos on this week. Another BuzzFeed video is dropping either later today. No, it actually dropped already. So yeah, I've had 2 videos this week on BuzzFeed specifically. AI is actually being used to write or co-write user created content. So if you're a user of BuzzFeed's, which I don't know why you would be, that sounds, like a bad decision. But if you are, they have quizzes and things like that can help you, figure things out. Like the example that they used recently was, we're coming up on Valentine's Day, and you can put in, what your needs are for Valentine's Day for your partner, whatever your partner is. And, and it will help you assess what you should get them for Valentine's Day, or what you should say, or it'll craft a card for you or whatever. And so that's a feature that they're using the API of OpenAI's ChatGPT thing for. But
dear human that I love.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And
I would like to touch your penis.
Okay. And in the future, though, yes, I believe that AI will be
actually, if it's smart, it would know what men actually want.
Hello, here's a beer. Would you like to see me naked?
Did you bring a sandwich? Anyway,
of course it did.
Okay, all right. Well, if there's a sandwich, then almost all the needs are met. But it's just, that's what's happening. What's really funny, to add to that, Waltman, is the you guys are familiar with the AP, right? They're a newswire, supposedly.
Yeah.
Anyway, they actually are already writing articles over there via AI based on any statistics or anything like that. So like for sports, there's a decent chance that a lot of sports articles that you see from the AP that just have a lot of facts in them are AI written. Just FYI. There's some investing stuff that's written by AI over there too. So
there you go. Well, you got your $2 worth for that one.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry at all. On the note of the whole Disney investor thing, Pilgrim Media says if libs can't control Disney, they'll destroy it.
Hard to do.
Mr. Buttcrack Media says hello to us, Six Culture and myself. Thank you so much. And the chat. So thank you, Mr. Buttcrack Media.
Hi, Mr.
And then Horseradish yes. Then Horseradish Power says Velma 7 and 8 has fog festivals, Fred talking to brains on jars, and escapes involving vans in caves with lava. Can we say out of ideas together? Well, I don't think they had an idea to begin with.
The creativity is left the building.
The agenda was first.
Yeah.
That's the basis of what they're writing.
Yeah.
So the chat thinks that the AI me was you?
I think so. Some people were saying some comments that led me to believe that they
would you like oral pleasure now?
Yeah, that was Tom, folks. Tom, this isn't me. You have to be good.
Yes. I do have to be good. But on that note, speaking of being good, Wookiepedia was getting out of line, and you got involved with this, Six.
Ooh, Six goes.
So that's why I asked you to come in here, and I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
For those who don't know what Wookiepedia is, let's give them a little bit of background. Now, this is it's attached to Star Wars fandom, but it's not officially attached to Disney, right?
Right. It's fan run, but it's about as close as you can get to being official. They've been around
sanctioned.
For forever.
Is that the word I'm looking for?
That because they've referenced them. They've given them multiple shout outs.
Right.
But as far as technically official, no.
So anyway, what happened is they have now added a field on their character bios for gender and pronouns here. And the pronouns thing they were having some fun with yesterday. And changing pronouns on different characters just to get a rise out of some people, only to block them. Is that kind of the basic gist of it, Six, would you say?
Well, they put out a tweet saying that they've now started including pronouns for some of the characters as far as they can figure out from
assess
the
or whatever
comics. Yeah. And they made this announcement on it and posted a picture, and I didn't see any pronouns that were incorrect as far as, what we as the fans have been led to believe. Anakin's a male, but then they had people who were asking Wookiepedia somebody said, can you please change Anakin's pronouns to they, them, or she, her, or something, just for a second so I can make a screenshot. And Wookiepedia did it.
Yeah, and I saw they had Luke as a they, him, and stuff like that. Yeah, and you're right. They did to a she, her for Anakin.
Yeah, and I understand. You're going along with people who follow your page just for a lark. They didn't leave it up for very long, but just the fact that they're including them, I'm disgusted by it. It makes no sense. It has no business having anything to do with Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't really see the purpose.
Yeah, I retweeted or I quote tweeted them. I can't even remember what I said. I think I said something about, you guys have jumped the shark, I'm out. And that was it. And they blocked me.
Yeah, then they went on a block fury yesterday.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people saying that they've been blocked by Wookiepedia.
No, I didn't even engage, so that's probably why I didn't get blocked. I'm surprised I didn't get blocked by somebody's blockchain, but
yeah.
No,
well, I was wondering if they had checked out my Twitter timeline, because I posted something that said, I keep hoping that proclaiming one's pronouns will be the tramp stamp of the 2020s. Maybe they took that as a little anti.
Yeah, and you and a few other people got involved in this, and it was I watched some of it play out from the sidelines, just going, why did they just have to stir up bullshit? Culture, what's your take on this nonsense out of Wookiepedia?
It's nonsense. I'm sorry, at its simplest, it's just dumb. Look, there's no room for any of this stuff in any of the things. You're going back and trying to rewrite history, which is all these people are capable of doing. They have to destroy things by rewriting it so that, it fits the current narrative. And, this is pollution. Of course, Wookiepedia, like many of these other things, are run by that Fandom Inc. group. So, seriously, that particular entity has been in trouble for a bit. And, financially, I don't know how viable they are. If somebody wanted to take real action, all they'd have to do is acquire that, and then they could oust all these, crazy, politically driven agenda, narratively driven whack jobs that are there now. Because that's what's left at Wookiepedia. Yeah. There's nobody left over at Fandom that's actually worth it.
Well, and Jonas just sent me another message in the background here. He said the members of the Lucasfilm group are very excited about that drag panel, I guess.
Of course they are.
And,
the story group?
Yeah, and it's been supported by them, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they'll be in the front.
I'm surprised I'm sure they support something like this, too.
Waving their flags.
Yeah.
That's those guys. So mad. This is the thing. I mean, and again, it comes out of a place where I was completely in Disney. I can't even get into it, but
I mean, I could see this for characters that are aliens that you can't really tell what they are, but even in the Star Wars universe, if it's even mattered, you can kind of tell. Even like size Snoodles and stuff like that, for instance, you can kind of tell she's a chick,
Yeah, growing up Disney, man, this is devastating, and again, it's being done willfully on purpose, whatever term you want to use there. So, you know what?
And I refused. I'm sorry. And this is nothing against anybody who's trans. But I refuse. I fucking refuse to use they, them shit. It makes no sense. They, them is the dumbest thing in the world. It's grammatically incorrect.
The whole purpose of pronouns is for the sake of writing. So you can identify whom you're speaking about. Or writing about, and I would love to hear what Script, since he's a professional writer, I'd love to hear what his take is on it.
But no, if somebody is trans and they identify as a woman, I will say she if I'm talking about them. We have friends in our community, Culture knows, a couple of them I'm talking about, where if they, we're talking about them, and that's the only time we would use that though, is when they're not in the fucking room.
Well, do you remember
you were on whatever,
and you were reading an article about Ezra? This is when
and it got so goddamn confusing. Yeah.
And the article used the they, them pronouns. And we were all so confused. Like, who the fuck are they talking about? Are they talking about him? Or are they talking about him?
A group of people? Or yeah. Does he got a fucking posse? What?
Yeah, it just doesn't. I can't make heads or tails of it.
No, and I'm not, again, it's nothing to do with anything like that. It just has to do with, like you just said, it is the most confusing shit in the world. And especially, you're right, during the Ezra business, it was confusing as hell to try and figure out who they were talking about, what they were talking about sometimes. And to me, that's kind of goes against the whole use of language, right? Like, you can feel however you want to feel, but that's not, the they, them thing is just weird. Olaf Van says, did you guys catch any wind of the MILF dating show MILF Manor? No, how did I miss this? On TLC, where they discover they're dating each other's son. What?
Yes.
They didn't know
at
at first.
Is trash.
Yeah.
This actually sounds intriguing.
No, this is depravity, the television show. Yeah.
One man's depravity is another man's intrigue. I'm just telling you.
One man's depravity is another man's spank bank material.
Exactly. That's it.
Well, watching other people watch this show convinced me that.
Wait, I've seen this on Pornhub before.
Yeah.
So you've actually watched this show, Culture? Hold up.
What?
No.
Oh, I thought you just said you did. Sorry.
No, watching other people watching this show.
Watch other people watch it. Sorry.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Culture likes to watch.
I wasn't going to watch this damn show. It's crazy, man. Look, you have these moms, right? And they go places, MLFs, MILFs, MILFs, right? They go to this thing. What they don't know is that their sons are a part of the show as well, right? And so there are certain points where it gets borderline, if not overtly incestuous. It is not okay. None of this stuff is okay. It is Western cultural collapse. It is bad news. Bad news. And you know what, Olaf? I know for a fact that some of the people that are in our sphere, like are watching this show, and it's literally looks like it's killing them. It is bad television.
Yeah. Gonzalo Bergali's been a member for 13 months. It says, ain't assuming gender of someone like a criminal crime for these people. I mean, they can't ask the characters what their pronouns are. Good point, Gonzalo. They'll just argue that the makers are all on board with it. So Marksman of 11-7B says, the game Cult of the Lamb started a Twitter war with Angry Birds of all things. It's the funniest thing I've seen all week. They've gone full Wendy's. Huh. Okay, never heard of Cult of the Lamb, but I know what Angry Birds is. So I'm assuming they're both mobile games or something or other. Probably made by the same people. That's probably why. Interesting. Then we got Views with Hughes, who says, I'm sticking with Favreau portion of Lucasfilm. If he leaves, I leave too. I can't believe I'm a Viking member now. Well, thank you so much for being a Viking member. And I don't think Favreau's going anywhere, despite some rumors to the contrary. But yeah, do you guys have any feelings on that at all? Or
I'm a fan of his. I don't want him to leave either. I'll never walk from Star Wars. I'll never say I'm done.
What the hell is this?
That's the ratings for MILF Manors.
Wow, that's bad.
Yep.
That's not good.
Makes me really want to watch it now.
I know.
Lily Von Stoop is here and says, did you catch RMB on Open Bar last night? No, I missed him. Listening to his views on Star Trek Season 3 of Picard was pretty glowing. I'll definitely be watching, giving it a watch views. Yeah, I'll see. I'll check it out. I trust Robert's opinion. I haven't even seen the second season. So I'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, that would be Star Trek Picard, I believe is.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of had a feeling that we might get a turn like this just from things that we had discussed and known prior to. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, Star Trek is dead to me. So
yeah. STR Red Wolf says writer here, and it gets confusing with the two of the same gender, even with non-female female genders. You have to describe or name characters, making everyone they them makes the job worse confusing. Well, not only that, it makes not just on you as the writer, but imagine how the reader feels.
Yeah. And Stephanie just sent a member chat, and I agree with her. The rumors about Favreau are from like 2 years ago, so it's just a rehash. So, thanks, Steph.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. And yeah, there really wasn't. It's been such a slow news week. The Warner news kind of sucked the air out of the room. What else was there that really went on? I mean, Avatar got its obvious sequel announcements, stuff like that happened.
Yeah, so
1923 got renewed. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, season 2. Yeah, 3. Yeah. You know what else got renewed that I couldn't believe happened today? They renewed Night Court despite its flagging ratings.
Yeah, that I couldn't understand.
I'm like going, why are you spending more money on this show that's like diving?
Well, they probably got, I think Warner owns it, if I'm not mistaken, or who owns it? Is it Carsey Warner or something like that? They pay for like the first 2 or 3 seasons more of it, I bet, and that's why. No, Tom can read. It's just certain things get marked up on my screen.
And green things.
And I have a stutter, so that doesn't help.
You stutter?
Yeah, I do. You haven't noticed? Matthew Whaley says, will KK quit this year? No, not likely. Probably next year sometime, maybe. And she won't quit. She'll just kind of leave. Jonas wonders if Night Court reboot jazzed ratings on the original Night Court. It might have. That could be another reason too. Jonas, you're not wrong there. And Zax has been a member for 20 months. Thank you, Zax. We appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the new Night Court show's tanking, though. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It may be helping the old show. That might be one of the reasons to keep it going.
Maybe. You know what's funny? It's just I look at all shows like that and I go, if you're gonna reboot it, you reboot it. If you're not, then why do it again? I mean, Dan Fielding was a great character in bringing John Larroquette back is probably the only draw to that show. I don't know. I mean, once Harry was dead, it's over.
Well, they know that just the name will get people to watch at least the pilot.
Right.
That's what happened.
And they're hoping that they've pooped out something good enough to have people continue watching.
No, they didn't.
Ben Dowdy's been a member for 4 months. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And with that, I think we pretty much have exhausted what there is to talk about today.
Wow.
What do you guys say?
How could we possibly have done that? This is
well, there's only a couple of us here. That helps. And then
the 90s show. That 90s show got renewed for season 2.
Oh, cool. Teague says, have you seen the film City Hunter? It's sexist.
No, I haven't.
It's sexist. Never heard of it. City Hunter?
Yeah, Teague, I don't know. But I know that the only reason that you got a 90s show with guest appearances from Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher is because Mila told Ashton they were doing it even if the scripts were bad. I'm not kidding.
She wanted that money. City Hunter looks like either a anime or a Jackie Chan movie. Never heard of it before. That's a new one to me. And then ActionCom, what do you think about the Barbarella reboot? There's a Barbarella reboot again. They're trying.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that.
Didn't we just lose another person tied to that? The costume designer, I think, or something. Yeah. I think that happened the last couple of days.
They've been talking about this for a while. Sydney Sweeney's been talking about it, I guess, for about almost a year.
Making me work back here.
I don't see anything new.
Well, that movie's older than Culture is.
Jane Fonda says she worries about it. That I got here. And I guess, they're not. It's all back in October.
Yeah, and Jane's like, she tries not to think about Barbarella. That's so funny. That's I guess it's from Sydney Sweeney confirmed she's starring in it. It's in development. There's no writer or director, so it may not ever happen. So who cares? Sorry, I didn't mean that to you, ActionCom. I'm just saying I don't know that it's actually happening. Yeah. I don't know.
And because of I don't even know why this brought this up, but Rita Ora and Taika Waititi are officially married.
They got married. Yeah, you just destroyed one of my stories for next week. One of my
I didn't destroy anything. Who cares?
Yeah, you did. No, man. I mean, that is a marriage printed on flash paper.
How long do you think it's going to last? A year? 6 months? Year and a half?
I don't know. As long as it depends. I mean, it's as good as the next three-way is all I have to say.
Maybe they're in love. Maybe it's going to be forever. It happens.
Dude don't know how to romance shit. Did you see Thor: Love and Thunder?
There was no romance.
Oh, that was such a well. Never mind.
Was it a good movie or a bad movie?
It was a good movie.
Yeah,
We
and
liked
you're right.
It wasn't a great movie.
You're right. 16-bit mascot's correct. That would have been my million-view video, Tom. They're going viral with that.
I doubt it.
That's old news already. Why are you putting it out next week?
Yeah.
Because nobody saw it. That was the
He loves to
quietest
do-
thing
He
ever.
takes forever to put out videos about what was that? What was that movie you went and saw and you waited like 48 hours to put the review? It was Megan, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You waited 2 days before you put your
And it
review
did
out.
pretty well. It did pretty well.
Yeah.
Video did pretty well.
Could have done much better had you put it out sooner. Sorry,
You guys are so mean to me.
No, we're not. We're just honest.
Wow, Big Daddy
It's called
MRI.
tough love.
Woo!
What do you
Big
do?
Daddy-
Give some memberships?
Yeah, 10. Big Daddy MRI
Nice.
gives 10 Midnight's Edge memberships. Thank you, Big
Lily
Daddy.
Von Stoop, Read by Nature, Lauren Taylor, Brian Barth, Savage Talk, Fletcher Williams, the lovely Sherry got one, Soul Assassin, Jay Pung, Kathu da Hukululi,
Kathu on the ukulele.
whatever you just said.
It's Hawaiian. What?
Mukalakahiki, come on, you want to lay me?
What?
Ain't you ever seen Wayne's World?
Yeah, forever ago.
Daniel Stenitsman is here. Have you seen Transformer with Simon Cowell? No. What the hell is that?
Yeah.
Is that like the prequel to Transformers?
I'm sorry, but the form you've picked to turn into is fucking garbage. You should feel bad. What the fuck are you? Are you a Beetle? Are you a Volkswagen type car? What is it? It's lame. It's a no from me.
It's a Fiat.
That's a no.
Fiat that. That's a no.
I used to
yes.
watch American Idol.
Hey, Mr. Tickletrunk said that was perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah, he's 5 minutes
Flawless
behind.
victory. He's what?
He's 5 minutes behind.
Oh, he's 5 minutes behind.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's like the Bit and Rain Man. Raymond, am I using you? Yeah. He's answering a question from a half hour ago. I always love that bit.
Dude, yeah, well, I do that all the time. If you guys watch my live streams, like I've got the Friday pre-flight today, I'm so far behind because I'm reading the chat that like it's like I'm like an hour behind, possibly. It's nuts.
Mecha J says Sarah Michelle Gellar is blaming fans on why female superhero films are not doing so. Oh, Jesus Christ. Seriously?
Oh yeah,
Where's this
she,
at?
yeah, she went full whiny pants. Yeah.
I've never liked her.
Well, did you hear the story about how she had somebody fired because this person was offering back massages?
Oh, for
And
fuck's
she
sake.
wanted the staff, she wanted the cast to feel safe, so she got rid of them. I'm like, why don't you teach your cast to say no, thank you? I don't want a back massage.
Yeah, it's not that hard to do.
Somebody lost their job because you're a whatever.
See,
I don't know the circumstances. I wasn't there, but come on.
It's still okay. So the star of the beloved, but in recent years controversial series Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Sarah Michelle Gellar knows the highs and lows of working within the supernatural genre better than most. Pros, incredible storytelling, emotional character arcs, mind-blowing special effects, and werewolves. But the cons? Sexism. So much sexism. Genres where women can really succeed and hold an audience, Gellar said in a recent Guardian profile. Every time a Marvel movie tries to do a female cast, it just gets torn apart, unfortunately. Audiences weren't as accepting. There's still a mentality of this male superhero. This is a very backwards way of thinking.
Really? Men being superheroes? Men doing what men are supposed to do? Be the hero? Exhibit
Well,
those
not only
masculine
that,
traits?
I mean, how long did they wait to give Black Widow her own goddamned movie?
That wasn't a very good movie, though.
Regardless, I mean, I bet you it would have been better had they. Now, look, most people have said, give me a movie of that first few minutes of the Avengers and stuff like that. And I didn't hate the first 2 hours or so of the movie. It's just the last half hour that's garbage.
Yeah.
the falling from the sky bullshit. Basically, where like all logic goes out the window. It's like something doesn't take that long to fall just because it's big. Haven't you ever seen the Bill Nye the Science Guy videos? Like everything falls at the same rate. I mean, it's just
until
plus
you
it's lighter.
Yeah, and then you reach terminal velocity.
Exactly. Like at that point, like, and then they just all kind of fall to the ground. Everybody's fine. Yeah. Anyway, we've exhausted everything there is to talk about, I think.
Yeah.
You didn't like those links that I posted?
There's links?
Ridley Scott, don't care. that gladiator thing's going to be a disaster. But anything that keeps Ridley Scott away from Alien, I suppose. And I really don't want to talk about Ezra Miller.
Okay, that's okay.
What about Ezra Miller? Okay.
Because if I get out early, it's like a snow day.
Been hard watching that. I have the premiere. Oh, I don't know if I really want to dig into this.
Well, I'm trying to find a place to go see Pathan this weekend.
What the hell is that?
It's a new Indian
Holly
cinema.
movie.
New Indian cinema film. It looks amazing.
I am not getting the soundtrack. I don't care.
Some of the music's great.
Oh, Andy's in the chat. We could have brought Andy in all this time.
What? Andy's here?
Yeah.
Hi, Andy.
Well, it's
Lots
too
of
late
people
now.
here.
It's too
Like in
late,
Black
baby.
Saber.
Now it's too
Yeah.
late. Hey, what do you think about the rumor that
We talked? Didn't we talk before the show? We weren't going to turn this into karaoke.
Oh, that's right. I'm not allowed to do a karaoke.
Andre's gonna get
Andre's
pissed.
mad.
I'm
All right. Well,
sorry.
we're losing the cast of thousands here. So,
But hey, let me say this: Robert Downey Jr. and Jon Favreau team up to make a new Star Wars movie.
I don't believe you.
All right.
In fact,
That
I don't
sounds
believe
made
you. That sounds made up. Like like your girlfriend in Canada.
I don't believe you.
No, I never had a girlfriend in Canada.
Yeah, but you know what? We know that Culture Boss is real because we've seen her on screen making out with Culture.
I don't know about that. I saw her give him a sandwich once.
Yes,
I
that-
saw her making out with him.
Whoa, who's the voyeur here now? 6.
Oh, that's totally me.
Mecca J says, Tom, are you excited for the King of the Hill revival coming to Hulu? Oh, yes, I am.
I saw Culture kissing Culture Boss.
Now this is getting fucking weird. Master Clockwork says, Wookiepedia is arbitrarily changing characters' pronouns for shits and giggles, meaning they don't actually care. It was a stunt. You know what? It's a good point you bring that up, Master Clockwork. Wouldn't that be basically making fun of people's pronouns? Kind of what they canceled Gina Carano over?
That's one of many.
I think that's kind of making light of people's pronouns, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting. I'd say that Wookiepedia is transphobic. How about them apples? Oh, and Snow's here. How you doing, Snow? We could add a puppet on this morning, kids.
I could have had a puppet.
Happy Friday, Tom Culture and chat. Oh, and 6. Jolly said he sent his only puppets links to your DMs. He's sliding up in your DMs there.
He did, actually.
There you go. But no, I think we're going to give everybody the day off early since Culture's got you got a show coming up here, don't you?
Yeah, it's in a little bit though. I think, let's look at the clock. We got some time, but yeah, I got a show coming up here pretty quick in the next 90 minutes, hour or so. And I've got 4 videos out there in the world today. Go check those out. And 5 every other day of the week and 2 more coming tomorrow. So we will have done 26 videos in 6 days. Yeah. Got 25 more coming next week.
You could give us your film review on like Spider-Man.
Spider-Man?
Yeah, because that just came out, right? Time for you to put out your review.
No Way Home. I should put that out, to be honest.
Yeah, you're about right. Due for time. Yeah.
Due for it. Yeah. About time.
6, are you doing anything special or anything you want to plug?
Yes, tonight, Loki's Mornings of Mischief. I will be on there. I hope Tom will be on there too. Right, Tom?
I will try.
That's early.
10 Central tonight. And then Sunday, the weekly wrap-up on Midnight's Edge After Dark. And then after that is Late Night Culture.
That's true.
Indeed. And I'm talking Tulsa King this weekend, I believe, with
Ooh,
Nina Infinity and Gary and a few folks. So that should be fun.
sweet.
So yeah. Other than that, yeah, maybe I'll do some Mead Radio. Who knows? We'll see.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you should.
Maybe.
Amen, Valentine's Tube. Amen.
What? No. Whatever.
And Olaf Van Ness just gave you your cue, Tom.
He did.
Yeah.
And with that, it is time for some wet marsupials in the rain who have 0 fucks to give. Thank you.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koalas in the rain.